Hi guys, today I am going to be reading you The Salamander Room by Anne Mazer and illustrated by Steve Johnson. This was one of my favorite books whenever I was younger, and it really kind of fed my creativity, I feel like. Brian found a salamander in the woods. It was a little orange salamander that crawled through the dried leaves of the forest floor. The salamander was warm and cozy in the boy's hand. "Come live with me," Brian said. He took the salamander home. "Where will he sleep?" his mother asked. "I will make him a salamander bed to sleep in. I will cover him with leaves that are fresh and green, and bring moss that looks like little stars to be a pillow for his head. I will bring crickets to sing him to sleep, and bullfrogs to tell him good-night stories." "And when he wakes up, where will he play?" "I will carpet my room with shiny wet leaves and water them so he can slide around and play. I will bring tree stumps into my room so he can climb up the bark and sun himself on top. And I will bring boulders that he can creep over." "He will miss his friends in the forest. I will bring salamander friends to play with him here. They will be hungry. How will you feed them?" "I will bring insects to live in my room. And every day I will catch some and feed the salamanders. And I will make little pools of water on top of the boulders so they can drink whenever they are thirsty. The insects will multiply, and soon there will be bugs and insects everywhere. I will find birds to eat the extra bugs and insects, and the bullfrogs will eat them too. Where will the birds and bullfrogs live? I will bring trees for the birds to roost in, and make ponds for the frogs. Birds need to fly. We can lift off the ceiling. They will sail out in the sky, but they will come back to my room when it is time for dinner, because they will know that the biggest, juiciest insects are there. But the trees, how will they grow? The rain will come through the open roof, and the sun too. And vines will creep up the walls of my room, and ferns will grow under my bed. There will be big white mushrooms and moss like little stars growing around the tree stumps that the salamanders climb on. And you, where will you sleep? I will sleep on a bed under the stars, with the moon shining through the green leaves of the trees. Owls will hoot and crickets will sing, and next to me, on the boulder, with its head resting on soft moss, the salamander will sleep." And then there's the close-up of them. So I think the reason why I really like this book is that, it starts out in reality. The little boy finds a salamander, and, he's talking about how he's going to fix his room up so that the salamander will be comfortable there. But it soon turns into fantasy because, he lifts the ceiling off his room and he brings trees into his room. But every time that I would read this book, I would immediately want to just go outside and look for salamanders. And one of the things that I would do, that I'm going to do today, is I would make a moss garden. So to make a moss garden, you really only need a few supplies. So this right here is, I'm not really sure the exact name that it is, but it catches the water from your plants. You kind of just like set your pot in here. They're like 50 cents at Walmart or Dollar General. And of course you need some moss. So what I did is I went outside and I collected different pieces of moss. And I especially got this one because if you remember in the story, it talked about the moss that looked like little stars. And you can kind of see how this one looks like little stars, so it kind of reminded me of the story. So all you need to do is first get you a little spray bottle of water, and I'm just going to spray just a little bit of water in there so that it's kind of moist on the bottom. And then you just start putting your moss in here. I've always loved moss just because it reminds me of fairies, makes me think of like a fairy bed, and it's really just soft and cool and nice on your hands. And moss is really easy to manipulate into different containers. You can usually kind of lift it up. It's almost like a rug, you know, it's like nature's rug, so it's really easy to get big pieces together. Here's a different kind, and it has another little plant growing out of it, which is kind of cool. Of course, you can put some dirt in here. And I feel like moss gardens are really good for younger children because basically all you have to do to care for them is just make sure that they stay moist. They don't need sunlight. Feels really good on my hands. It's nice and cool. I'm almost done with my first layer. Kind of fill in the holes. Here's a piece. Squeeze that one in right there. Okay, so here's my moss. And then I also got some rocks. I'm just gonna kind of lay in here. Make it look just a bit more natural. And I got some bark, some kind of damp pieces of bark, because moss loves to grow on damp wood. So this just kind of makes it look a little more natural too. Can even think I'm gonna lay this one down and then put the moss on top of it. And then I have a little piece of wood, just like a little stick I'm gonna put in here that my imaginary salamander can crawl on, because this is for him. And of course he has his boulder that he can creep around. And then salamanders, if you remember in the story, it said that salamanders love wet leaves. A lot of the time you'll find them underneath leaves. So I'm just going to kind of lay some leaves on here that he could hide underneath. And I'm going to spray them with some water, because the boy in the story said that he would make sure that they were slippery. And just spray the rest of my moss garden. And it is finished. And you can kind of see how this would also be great for just kind of exposing a child to different textures. You have the hardness of the rock, the kind of slipperiness of the leaves, the roughness of the wood, but then you have this really just like cushy moss. So why do this activity with your children? Yes, it's fun, and yes, it, inspires their imagination, but beyond that, it's helping them reach those important milestones that they need to reach. They're realizing that they have the ability to convey a message, to retell a story, create their own story, and show that to someone just by using their fine motor skills, just by manipulating a few objects. They're learning about 2D and 3D and the differences between them. They're learning about different textures, how the different objects feel. They're learning about organization, how they can place things, how things look different whenever they're placed differently, and how they can make you feel different whenever you place them a certain way. And beyond anything else, they're learning that, they can link literature to real life.